Hello, I'm Zack Miller, and I will today be telling you about the 12 things millennials are looking for in the workplace. Now, before we get started, let's define millennials, which are folks basically between the birth dates of 82 to 2002. So it's a 20-year span. I was born in 84, so I'm kind of on the front end of it. 31 years old at the time of this recording, which is August 26th, 2015. I do believe that this will get broken up into two segments of millennials over the coming years. But think about this. When I grew up, I first learned how to type on a typewriter. And likely, if you're older than me, you did too. Now, my brother and my sister, who are only 4 and 5 years younger, did not. They had computers. And then the evolution of that is those folks that are now 21, 22, 23, you show them a typewriter and they have no idea what it is. And so the evolution has changed. Things are going way more digital. It's a lot easier because of mobile devices, and people are constantly on it. So just think about the evolution of that as we go over these slides. We're going to go over 12 different things that millennials are looking for in the workplace. Now, the way I came up with this information is I took a poll of millennials out of my office, team members, myself, things that we're looking for, and that's what we came up with this. Nothing too scientific, if you will. But the things that keep us going. So here we go. Now, I think it's always good beforehand to let you guys know what we're going to talk about. So what we'll do today is talk about the 12 things. Here's a description of all of them. Lax dress code, meaningful work, vibrant communities, flexible hours, goal and team-oriented, non-bureaucratic, commuting options, accessible leadership, open environment, individual innovation and creativity. Number 10, room to learn and grow. Tech-friendly, and finally, catered benefits. So what we'll do today is we'll go over each one of those in detail and tell you a little story. So lax dress code. I think this is one of the hardest ones for older generations to understand, baby boomers, if you will. And the reason behind it is because I think that they were always taught that you need to dress to impress. Dress, in a three-piece suit for guys and dress pants and or a dress for ladies, and that's just not comfortable anymore. And so when folks are working 30, 40, 50, 60 hours a week on an important project, we want them to be comfortable. I, for one, wear jeans and a t-shirt almost every single day of the year. I have not worn a suit to the office. I have not worn a suit in over a year. And I have probably not ever worn a suit to the office in the last 4 years. There was a prior job that I had for just a small period of time where I did wear those kind of outfits. But it's important that people dress dress kind of in a relaxed kind of way, as you can see in this picture here. This is at one of our events called Start Norfolk, where 3 people are dressed the way they want to, dress to impress that way, and it may not have a collar, it may not have buttons, but it's respectable. And I think we have to look at this in a deeper way. It's let people express them the way that they want to, not the way that someone else told us they have to. If they can get the job done wearing a t-shirt and jeans or a 3-piece suit, it doesn't matter. We just want the best thing possible and let people dress the way that they want. So allow them to dictate the dress code when possible. Obviously, sometimes there's companies. If you're at a restaurant, maybe you have to have a uniform. That's okay, but try and make it comfortable. Number 2, meaningful work. People want to feel that they are getting something out of what they're doing, not just a number in a classroom like they had been for the years before. They want to be doing things not just to change society, but to solve real problems. And when they feel like they're getting a real meaning out of it, and when I feel like we're actually making a difference, it's a lot easier to be happy about the work that you do. Now, this can be done in a multitude of different ways. It can be the work that you're doing for clients, the work that you're doing for your company, but it also could be like the extra time that you do doing maybe some community service. In Norfolk, some folks have come together and started building these parklets, which is really interesting, where the problem is there's not a lot of outdoor seating in the town of Norfolk, in the city of Norfolk. And so the way that they have tried to change this and make it easier is they've taken over parking spots and built these wooden structures that people can sit at whether they're getting breakfast, lunch, or dinner, maybe they're just reading a book, whatever it may be, but it's a way for them to get out and do something meaningful. It could also mean some of the client work that you're doing, or working with someone that has a real big problem, and you're able to solve that. So meaningful work can be in a lot of different ways. It also means not to just be a number, but to have a relationship with the people that you're working for, and something that we care for. Vibrant communities, continuing on the parklet piece. The 30, 40, 50, 60 hours a week, whatever your team is working, that is important. But a lot of times, the retention and attraction of individuals, millennials, has to do with not the job. It has to do with everything else outside. So we find that a lot of people in our community are looking for more bike lanes, more activities to do. What am I going to do on the weekends? What am I going to do when I'm not working for you? And so it's almost just as important, if not more important, that the community around it is not only one that supports it, but is one that is exciting to be a part of, something that you want to be at. Think about the communities that are being talked about all across the country, all across the world. They're talking about places where there's an experience. That's what Starbucks sold so well. You get an experience when you go there. So, you have cities like Austin and Boulder and Raleigh-Durham. What these communities have is that sense of place. And the more sense of place they have, the more likely someone is to come to an area to work. And the community is just as important as the job. Now, you put all these things together and you got yourselves, kind of an awesome opportunity to work with people. So the community around you is just as important. So while you may be looking for a new office, or you may be looking for to be growing, you do need to be in a place where people can have those serendipitous moments, because they do want to run into their friends. Flexible hours. I think this is another one that's hard for people. Is we've come accustomed to the 9 to 5. Well, what if it's 8 to 4? What if it's 7 to 3? What if it's 4 hours here, 4 hours there? Does that really matter? And so I find that in my line of work, there are times when the team needs to be there, but it doesn't matter if it's at night or during the day. When there's people at the office, we like the team to be here, but oftentimes, it might be 10, 11 o'clock at night and something needs to be fixed, and we're able to fix it. The more flexible you are on hours during the day, or the non-traditional 9 to 5, the more likely you're going to get someone to do the things that you want them to do at a later time. If you're constantly like, it's 9:02, you're late, and then you want them to stay at 5:30 to do something, what do you think their mindset's going to be? So you're trying to create a positive outlook throughout time, so that when you do need more additional things, they're not pissed off to do it. So flexible hours are very key. Yeah, you need to make money during the time that you get those 8 hours, or however you're billing. But as long as the team and the staff is working and getting the job done, the hours of the day should not be as important as actually getting the job done. If someone could do the work from 12 a.m. to 8 a.m., that's something that you should consider as being an option. Now, if they need to talk to clients, and that's kind of a mandatory thing, then absolutely I understand the 9 to 5 mindset. It is important that a lot of people who have to communicate with clients, they do kind of work when their clients are there. And so that's why I think a lot of people do put kind of hours of the day in there. But if someone's not meeting with a customer or a client, let them be a little bit more flexible on hours. Goal and team oriented. What is the goal of the company? What is the goal of the team that they might be working on? Is it just to finish a project, or is it to, if you're working with C players, to get to a B project? Maybe if you're at a B, to get to an A. Maybe if you got a $10,000 gig, to try and get a $20,000 gig. Express that with your team members. Let them know what they are working on and what your company's goals are, and so that they can help accomplish them together. Also, allow them to pick some goals as well. So recently, we had an idea to. One of our goals was to drive a certain amount of traffic to our website, and the number was picked by the team, not me, by the team. And so what's important about that is then it's the team's goal to do that, not you saying, oh, we want to have, I don't know, 100 hits to the website today. That wasn't the goal. But if I say that, then the other people are like, well, that's his goal, not mine. So what is your goal? What would you say, it would be cool if we got more traffic, because when we get more traffic, we can do X, Y, and Z. Okay, so how can we do that? Okay, what is the number that you want to be there? Goal and team oriented is great. And when the team kind of decides what those goals are, and within certain, restrictions, obviously, if they pick something that's super, super easy, you might want to challenge them to do a little bit more. But being goal and team oriented is so important, and try and have the team actually choose what those data points and references are. Number 6, non-bureaucratic. You've seen it, and a lot of us have done it. And it can be very difficult at times because you're taking all the risk. But oftentimes when you let people be people, they're going to get more work out of you anyway. I have found, and again, this is a non-scientific study, but the work that I have seen, and not with my team, but with people that I have seen, I believe that people that work a 9 to 5 only work roughly 2 to 2.5 hours a day. Here's how I'm going to break that down. So let's say 9 to 5. Okay, so you get in. You're probably going to get in a little late anyway. So 9:05. What's the first thing you want to do? How was your night, Becky? How was your night, John? It was great. So you got chitter chatter going on. Then you go get coffee. Okay, so we're at 9:15, 9:20 right now. Then you get in. It takes 10 minutes to settle in. We're at 9:30. Then it gets to about 10:30. What are folks trying to do then? They're thinking about lunch. Oh, I haven't gotten on Facebook yet. Let me check my tweets. Oh, I got interrupted. I got to do this. Then for the next hour, all they can think about is their lunch break. So they go at 11:45 instead of 12. Instead of coming back at 1, they come back at 1:15. So an hour and a half lost. It takes 15 more minutes then to get in at 1:30. Then they work for 1 hour. Then it's 2:30. They need more coffee. It's that 2 o'clock feeling. And they get back about 3. And they might get a little bit more work done, but they're thinking about leaving at 5, and they leave at 4:45 or 5. So if you calculate all that together, solid hours, 2 to 2.5 hours of actual work, that's difficult. So if you can be more non-bureaucratic, non-cubbies, allow it to be open, allow things to happen organically, while they know that they have to get work done, and not micromanaging everything, looking over the shoulder, what are you doing, what is this? People are going to do that anyway. So if you can try and have a relationship of trust in your team, then you're likely to get better results. And I think trust is such an important thing. If you don't have that trust in them, they're likely not going to get the job done. Maybe you're just bad at hiring, but if you don't trust the people you're bringing on, that's a totally different story. Try and not be so bureaucratic, and allow what the person is great at to do it, because that's why you've hired them. Number 7, commuting options. Back to the kind of that vibrant community piece. Whether it's bike lanes, light rails, cars, parking, walking. Folks are looking for ways to get to work that aren't necessarily in cars. And so a lot of folks here like to ride their bikes. So, we allow them to bring their bikes inside. If someone wanted to ride the light rail, which is like a metro station in our city, we would offer them passes to do that, parking passes, whatever it is. Make it easy for them to get to and from your office. And also remember, try and make it easy for them to stay afterwards as well, so that they can, explore the city. But biking in our case is a pretty big one. A lot of people love to ride their bikes to the office. Number 8, remember we got 12 here, accessible leadership. Make sure that you, as the founder of your company or the CEO or a C-level executive, that you have the door open every once in a while. Not all the time. Obviously, you got to get your work done too. But if someone wants to talk with you, allow them to talk to you. I have a very open door policy, and will hopefully always have that opportunity where we talk about anything, business, life, and I try and groom people to be the best that they can be. And so if you're accessible to people, you're more likely to get they're going to feel more comfortable around you, so that they can feel more comfortable and have a great opportunity working with you. And obviously growing a business is really important, and so is life. And so you want to have great relationships with the people, and I believe that having an open door policy while respecting each other is extremely important. You don't have to tell them everything, but definitely having you being a leader, or the leaders in your company being accessible, is extremely important. Number 9, individual innovation and creativity. Let your team do what you hired them to do. A lot of these things, as you'll see, are starting to kind of fade into each other because they all are so important. Individual innovation and creativity. Let them do what you hired them to do. Don't micromanage them. Don't be bureaucratic. If you hire a designer, let them design. Yes, you might want to say, this is what generally we're looking for, or generally we're looking for a new website that does X, and let them do it. And the best way that you can, I believe, that you can track things is by data. So if they want to do something one way, your team wants to do something one way, and you don't like the answer, allow it to do it, but then A/B test it or track it through data. Just because it doesn't look good to you doesn't mean it's not going to convert high. Or just because someone wants something done one way doesn't mean that that's the best way to do it. Let the people do what they're best at, because that is why you hired them. You're not the smartest person in the room on everything. So you hire people that are smarter than you on the things that you're not the best at, and allow them to go balls to the walls on that topic, because that's why you hired them. Number 10, room to learn and grow. So we do a lot of programs, and we have educational platforms at Hatch, and so we're constantly teaching, but it's also important for our teams to have the ability to learn on their own time, learn during office hours, whether it's going to a conference, whether it's buying some sort of course, whatever it takes to have them always learning, the better. I recently heard something that says, if you're not learning, you're dying. And that's so true. If we're not constantly trying to learn new techniques to get better, then we're going to lose. And so we should always be trying to learn and find ways to grow throughout times. And so, I know what you're saying, conferences can be expensive. Okay, so make sure that if you do something like that, you from a conference standpoint, you say, okay, if we hit this number, I'm going to let you go to a conference that is this size. So maybe it's if we hit our goal of $50,000, I'm going to let you go to a conference that's $500, so that it's a small percentage of that, and then they get to go to that conference and learn even more. And so hopefully something like that is where you put in, you have them set a goal, and then say that goal is, I want to go hit this number, and if you do that, by the way, we're going to let you go to this conference which you want to go to, so then you can educate. So you're kind of mixing things together where folks are able to again, not be bureaucratic, allow them to be creative, pitch their own goals, and if they do all of that, learn to grow, which is great. Tech friendly, folks want to use the best of the best. Now, again, this is another one of those things where it's expensive. It can be expensive. You get, an Apple laptop, an iPad, some monitors. You're looking at $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 potentially. So, again, motivate them to do it and say, if we hit this number, we can deliver this new product for you. Maybe it's just a chair. Maybe they want a standing desk. Whatever it may be, allow your team to have the best inventory of tools possible to get the job done, because they're going to try and find it no matter what, and the better tools that they have, the better opportunity they have to grow business. If you don't have the right tools, it's very difficult to grow your business. And finally, catered benefits. So this could mean having your traditional stuff, insurance, a couple weeks vacation, holidays, but it could also mean maybe when you hit a certain milestone, you go out for beers. Maybe it's we're going to have lunch one day. Maybe it's getting a gym membership. Maybe it's having an amusement park day. It could be very creative on this. And so, as you see here, someone in their Zen moment is doing yoga. Catered benefits is just being creative on what options people can have. And so the more options they have, maybe you say, here, you can pick 5 things. and you give them a list of 10. Say, these are the 5 things that you can get. Choose them, and you can get them and use them, and we'll pay for them. And so maybe that's parking, insurance, amusement park day. If we hit the goal, we do this. Having access to bikes so that they can ride their bikes around the street. Maybe it's going to lunch. It could be a plethora of different things, but catered benefits is such a great way for you to explore options to give people more than just a salary, right? It's not, if you notice, nothing in here said salary, right? So the money isn't as important as the surroundings are. And so from a financial standpoint, there's a lot of things in here that we've talked that do cost money, but from a catered benefit standpoint, this is where you can really, really, really get creative. So that's it. That's the 12 things millennials are looking for in the workplace. We'll go from 12 back to 1. Catered benefits, tech-friendly, room to learn and grow, individual innovation and creativity, accessible leadership, commuting options, non-bureaucratic, goal and team-oriented is number 5, flexible hours number 4, vibrant communities, meaningful work, and lax dress code. These were in no particular order, but these were the 12 things that millennials are looking for in the workplace. What are your millennials looking for? Are you a millennial and one of the things that you're looking for was not listed here? I'd love to hear from you. All you have to do is simply send me an email at zach@hatchnorfolk.com or zach@startwithhatch.com. Thank you, and keep up the good work.